There we go.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It is November 10th. The UConn Huskies are about to play their first basketball game. And this is your first episode of Talkin Huskies, babe.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome. This is Jake Storielli. If you know me, a tough break, I guess. Started doing this with Talkin Yanks, Talkin Knicks, and I God, when UConn basketball is on, that kind of brings me to another place. So I'm joined by Nick Carpino, first podcast,
First timer.
UConn alum. Nick,
Yes.
I don't know if you want to tell us about yourself or what.
Let's not.
Yeah,
we'll get into that later. We're trying to keep the
to
people interested.
trying to keep it a positive episode. You're a UConn alum, 2011 technically, 2012.
Yeah, technically. Yeah, I've been there a few times.
A teaker? Did we talk about that or no?
Yeah, no, we'll just leave that.
Okay.
We'll leave that out.
There's a couple houses on campus. Ask around, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna talk some UConn basketball. I think to start out, the first game is tonight, Colgate.
Do we know if Adams is playing, or is that
I haven't seen anything that said he wasn't.
before we started this? I was looking at everything I didn't see anything. I didn't see any updates.
Yeah,
so.
I think it was just nothing big. Sounds like our star player just it hit someone with a scooter or what happened?
I believe so. Yeah, but there's no chance that the UConn fan base overreacts to this one. But
yeah, and then fled the scene, which is funny because we had another UConn friend got hit by someone with a scooter.
Yes,
our buddy, the pharmacist Bob Urban, long-time fan, maybe, I don't know, but. Yeah. So I want to start, before we dive into this, I want to circle back to last season a little bit. Unfortunately for UConn standards, it's not the best season to dive into.
No.
Finished 16-17, 9-9 in the conference. Yep. And I mean, it was kind of funny. We lost to Wagner and Northeastern out of the gate. And it was kind of funny because we were like, okay, Wagner, this team might be able to play some ball. Maybe they're a tournament team in their conference.
I think they had 4 5-year seniors on that team. So it was like, but then I think they finished 16-14 or something like that. So
and there's the old UConn Jim Calhoun kind of mindset that they
play down.
They almost like that game. Like Calhoun used to coach up to that. Like, oh, all right, you boys slept in on this one. Uncle Jimmy's coming for you now. Mm-hmm. And that used to kind of motivate the boys. So we're like, okay, a little early in the season for it. Mm-hmm. And then we lost the next game to Northeastern, and it was like,
0-2, not good. People will point to the injuries, or like they'll say that's why 16-17. They'll point to the injuries, unfortunately, and I hate to bring it up, but it does worry me because we are at full strength for those first 2 games. So that is concerning.
Yeah, and I've got some half excuses I've made in my head for that. I think that's gonna be in our section called "Gone." I think, but we'll continue through the season for now. Like you mentioned, so we had Alteric Gilbert. He was the big recruit. He was out for the season, and then Larrier, who was supposed to be kind of our star wing for the team that we knew about, we didn't know too much about, and then he was out for the season too. I think Larrier got hurt first, right? Or was it?
Larrier got hurt out in the tournament
in the Hawaii tournament or whatever it was. Yeah. And so I mean, those were just the like, okay, well, this is starting to look real bad. And then it was kind of funny. So we beat Cuse, which is always a big game in the UConn season when it's on the UConn season now.
Right.
And then the other game that stuck out to me was the OT loss to Auburn because, you knew Auburn was their program starting to get a little better, and they had the kid from Connecticut, right? It's an absolute ball player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's good.
That was kind of brutal because we were thinking like, okay, beat Cuse, beat Auburn. If you're beating good out of conference teams, your odds look pretty good in the AAC.
Yeah.
And then I think we lost like our first 4 in the AAC or something stupid like that. Yeah. And then the only other like pivot point that, because we're a little bit of a spoiled fan base, right? We won 2 national titles kind of out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
we deserve the others, I'll say, but the other one, well, we believe in Kemba. Let's not.
Yes.
What Kemba did, yes, give us the title. Of the Kemba Walker, we gave a championship in our fantasy baseball league because we forgot who won that year, and he was so awesome. So a little bit into our pathetic lives, but
there it is, a little preview of it where we're headed in this show.
So there was the only stretch, and we started playing the, kind of if they go on a hot streak or if they win the AAC tournament, you start thinking in those terms. They won 7 out of 8 to get to 14-12, and they were 9-5 in the conference. And they had a couple big games coming up, I think, against SMU and Cincinnati. And it was like, okay, well, if they beat these guys or hang, they're going to have a chance in the tournament. And I think they got beat pretty bad. I think they lost another 4 games.
Yes. Yep.
And again, my final comments on the season really were they were 290, 298. That's I forget what the NCAA is up to now. It's like 300 something teams, but they were 298th in points per game. And if you're the optimist, you'd say, okay, they were 43 in points allowed, but I think it was because they kind of played slow pace, ugly basketball, and the other team didn't need to score too much. Which
no, it was not. It was always ugly. Not a lot of shooters on that team. I think Vitel's our best shooter, honestly, pure shooter.
Yeah. So just the season in general last year. Do you have any kind of final notes on it or comments?
Like I said, it's a interesting season. I guess there are a lot of new pieces at the beginning, so you can, and I guess you can say Wagner was a veteran squad, maybe caught us sleeping, and then they just really never got a chance to find themselves. I mean, you mentioned the Auburn game. I think, what did Adams, did he go out in the second half or in the first half of that game with an injury, I believe?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, it was just always when this team was about to, you're like, hey, maybe they have something, and then something like that would happen.
Yeah.
And I think that game could have been something for them, and I think that guy, he ended up going to Kentucky. Diallo was in the stands watching it, and it was just like,
yeah.
He committed to Kentucky 3 hours later.
Yeah.
He was like,
UConn sounds nice and all, but no, thank you.
Yeah, it was. That's what it felt like to me. It's just everyone, and then that game in the AAC tournament against Cincinnati, there was I think 79 fouls called in that game, and just UConn it seems like it never it was definitely probably a little biased here, but I just feel like we never really got a chance to never had a chance in that season. It just every time they maybe were about to turn a corner, they would kind of get punched in the gut, and they just really couldn't find themselves, couldn't recover.
Yeah, and it was just a lot of they didn't have any identity.
No,
they you'd say, okay, well, we've got Bremen in the middle, so maybe we could be a good defensive team, and then he'd have 2 fouls within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, you had Bremen back there, but the 3-point defense was infuriated me, and I just couldn't believe we just all season just didn't cover the 3-point line.
We couldn't cover the 3-point line, and we just couldn't score anything on offense.
Right. Which
UConn's had teams that there's been a couple seasons, even when they've been good, where their half court sets you've been like, oh, fellas, fellas, we're
a little bit. Yeah, it's a little. I think you mentioned Kemba and Shabazz, and we've had these teams where you're just waiting for that guard to just take over. It's like, yeah, we have 4 guys that can't shoot, but you have Kemba, you have Shabazz, and they're just waiting for them to score 35, and I guess that guy was supposed to be Adams. It just never happened for them last year.
Yeah, and so I think that segment segues us into the gone section, because we mentioned Brima, just up and down career. He was kind of better than we expected at first, and then plateaued a little bit. I will say this. Maybe this is bias. He would get some tough calls on him too. I mean, he's a guy that can take a lot of shots, but there's a couple times when you're like, that's just a big guy contesting a shot.
He never got the benefit of the doubt ever, and I don't know why that was. Really, If there was ever a maybe, I mean, he would get the whistle no matter what. I don't know if it's because he looked kind of goofy. Like
Yeah.
he obviously wasn't the smoothest player, most athletic guy out there. But I think I don't think he was as bad as like memory would tell you he was. But
Yeah, he you know,
or
he
the
was
number, I think he's better than the numbers.
he was a solid guy in the program. I mean, no sour feelings with Brima. I mean, you never expect him to be an offensive force. Um, he had his moments.
Yeah.
See you later, Amita. Purvis is the one that's
This is the one
tough,
that
and
kicked. Yeah.
I don't like going to negative town. The quote that's always going to be remembered is the Ferrari in the garage from Ollie. And when we're old spitting guys or the Ferrari in the garage, yeah, it was a terrible Ferrari.
Yep.
I have a lot of mixed feelings. I mean, you felt like there was times when you saw and you got
tearing
it.
up
Like,
the D,
okay,
I hate to bring it up. He's tearing up the D League right now.
yeah, well, that was the thing that was kind of messed up. Like, you could see this like NBA talent. Like, the guy's got hops.
Yeah.
When
I mean,
his stroke was there, it looked good, but it often wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. And the missed layups, like for a guy with that, I mean, the guy's built like a brick shit house.
Yeah,
and could get to the rim at will, and then like would miss the bunny, and it just seems like it came at just most gut wrenching,
the worst times.
Yes, and stepping out of bounds. I mean, the guy, when that happens, enough.
You don't coach that.
No,
you can't coach that. And yeah, it felt like he needed to be like a clear number one on maybe like a lesser program, and maybe that's what he needed to be kind of a point guard, but he's not really a point guard. I don't know. I mean, again, it's not ill wishes. It's just kind of expectations that were up there, and you were always like last season as a whole, you were always waiting for that moment to click.
Yeah.
And it just,
I mean, because he would have his nights where he would score like 26, 28 points, and you're just like, here we go.
And they'd come in bunches. He was an absolute bunch scorer. He could, not a lot of guys in college could get 9, 10 points that quickly, and he could, but then he could also just go missing for about 3/4 of the game. So
exactly.
it was tough, and you got the UConn guard history, so it's tough to measure against that. But he never clicked, and I don't know. Again, he transferred for NC State. You just wondered, was it attitude, this, that, and the other? I don't know. I'm not going to fully throw him under
I don't
the
know.
bus.
Like, I'm tempted. You like want to be like, as a fan, I hope it's kind of addition by subtraction type of thing. I hate to say that about such a talented player and a good kid by all. He really wasn't in any trouble, and I never saw like any issues. Like, seems like his teammates liked him, and he was, it's a mystery to me. I don't think we ever really got an answer. What really?
Yeah,
I think Ollie was definitely frustrated by him, but he would never. Ollie's a player's coach, would never say anything. But I mean, he definitely alluded to it in some press conferences. Just talking about his seniors not stepping up, or I'm sure he was referring to the. I mean, for a guy that you watch him and you're like, you can't believe it. I think he was he was definitely over an 80% free throw shooter, but you're like, when you really needed it, like I swear to God, you'd never believe that he was an 82% free throw shooter, because like he would go to the line and brick a couple when you really needed him, and it was just tough to watch.
We don't have the clutch stats, but they just couldn't have been good.
No, but then you look at it, but then like he's an 82% shooter, and you're like, no way.
When? Yeah, that's tough.
We'll move on. We'll move on. We could do a whole Purvis show. We'll turn off the for the audience. We can just talk about it later.
Well, welcome to talking Rodney Purvis. No, good luck. It was frustrating. That's all.
Yes, absolutely.
And man, so it's kind of a long gone list, which is going to lead to a long who's new list.
Yeah.
But, Facey, man, Facey's one of those weird ones. Like, I laughed out loud in the middle of the season, because I was like, Facey was starting to ball out, and I was like, okay, Kenton, like get yours, big fella.
Yeah, let the big man eat.
I was laughing because literally one time I was like, man, there's some times that it literally looks like this guy doesn't know the sport,
Right.
And then I found out he learned like 3 years ago or whatever it was.
I think he's one of those.
So
He picked up the game at age
it was
16.
Yeah, it was tough. He figured it out on game 16 his senior year when the team was in a down year, which is tough. Like again, we get it. He wasn't a high prospect guy. He ended up doing some good things. It was, he was like he was our go-to big for a little bit, which was tough, but he did good. Thanks, Ken. I guess.
No. Yeah, honestly, I don't think what more you really could expect out of a guy like Ken Facey. Is just, he was just kind of the wrong guy. Like, it was just the wrong place, wrong time for him. I feel like he would have been really good on like that. The 2014 team would have loved him.
Yeah, if he had another year, if he had another year of eligibility, we'd be like expecting kind of big things from him this year.
I'd be really happy to have him right now for sure.
But we don't. So enjoy your years.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna package the next two.
I was gonna say I'm looking at the list, and we can.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip to the bottom one because I almost don't want to spend time on him.
I know.
Stephen Enoch. I mean, another big man that at times you're like, okay, Drummond 2.0, like
NBA body.
This guy looks like a beast, and he's transferring to Louisville, and it's one of those things like, in the back of my head, I'm like, this guy's going to burn us. Like, I could see there were moments when he looked amazing and moments where he looked like he got on the wrong bus for football practice and ended up at the basketball court.
I mean, the defense was just like, I don't think he knew. There's times where he didn't look like he knew the offensive plays, and then on defense, he looked like he had no idea what was going on. And I know that's what cost him most of his minutes, is just like Ollie could not stand to watch him play defense.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's basketball IQ or Ollie, and I guess that's what twists into the next part, because the guys we're going to package are Vance Jackson and Juwan Durham. Decent prospects, guys that.
And Durham had the injuries, but I mean, he was a big time prospect before that.
Yeah, guys that had their moment. The kind of guys Ollie likes, like wing players, athletic wings that can shoot a little bit. And I guess you can tie it into Enoch transferring too, but these guys left town, which that was kind of the first like serious red flag in UConn Nation. Like, okay, Ollie, you can have a bad season, but like, if guys are starting to flee the program, like, what's up?
I mean, then we can bring it into, the guy that went to Providence also, if you want to talk about the red flags, when he lost to MAL. What was his last name? First name was Mackay, last name Langford. There's a middle name in there that I can't remember, but he looks pretty. I was at the Providence game. Kid looked like he can ball. A bunch of red flags that are kind of, it was concerning to everyone. It's like, all of a sudden you started getting on, the national beat reporters on Twitter, and you start getting all the rumblings everywhere. It's like, what is going on up at UConn? What's going on is, the Ollie, he had the national championship, which is his trump card, and it will be for a while, but I think people started to really wonder what was going on up here.
Yeah, and it's tough because it's, we're sneaking into the who's around section. I mean, a couple of these guys had big opportunities this year if they stayed.
Mm-hmm.
So that really
concerning, because if it was minutes, if it whatever they were upset about or not liking, like everything was there for the taking this year, and it is concerning that they didn't want to stick around.
Especially a guy who's, like you said, he's known as a player's coach.
Right.
So I don't know. That's for me. That's kind of the last season in the books. We had some fun today. We'll talk about a little more some of the old recruiting classes. I mean, we're gonna look in a couple of years. We're gonna look back at that Vance Jackson, Juwan Durham recruiting class and be like, what happened?
Right.
But let's start spinning it upwards before we start talking about our personal lives. So who's back? The belle of the ball, Cinderella, Jalen Adams. Part of our point guard pipeline. He had his come and go moments last year. I don't know. It's tough.
I mean, again, I hate to just bring up the injuries again. He had an ankle thing going on for a while, and I think he was. I mean, they're asking so much. I mean, we had like 6 guys at one point. I mean,
yeah,
you're asking a lot of minutes, and I think he was playing kind of hurt and kind of. I mean, you just had nobody that could score. You're asking him to do so much.
yeah, and he tried to, and sometimes it was good, sometimes it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's huge expectations for him this year, right?
Of course,
and
yeah.
it's part of the UConn tradition. It's Shabazz, Kemba, Ricky Moore, shout out, Galid. But I'll deep dive into it a little later, but his stats are pretty similar to Shabazz, and I remember Shabazz's sophomore year. We were like, "Yo, little homie Baz, what are you doing, bud?" Like,
right.
He was out of control.
Yeah,
straight out of control. And I guess if you compare that, I mean, they're kind of on similar timelines there.
Yeah.
And
Kemba Walker was a junior when he went off too. So you really.
Yeah, and so I mean,
it's already. I mean, we're already like, this is not fair to Jalen Adams to compare him to 2 guys that won national championships. So
that's tough.
But this is what he's got. This is what the deal is. Being at UConn, it's point guard you lately, and this is what it's going to be.
And at the same time, I mean, that's kind of what you walked into. And for Shabazz's sophomore year's numbers, he was 13, 6, and 3, something like that. I mean, Jalen's numbers are right there.
Yeah.
So we're expecting a big leap this year. You're expecting him to be a 17 and 6 kind of guy, something like that. Especially if this team wants to meet their goals / exceed their goals. But the other thing is, there's a lot of new bodies, but it seems very much in the realm, right? Like, it seems like this guy has the talent. It's I don't want to say a why not, because I think we actually could give reasons why not. A lot of new guys. Yeah. But his expectations are going to be 17, 18.
Absolutely.
A lot of helpers. I don't know. What do you got on Jalen Karps?
I mean, we tried to touch on it. I mean, I just think he's got to be the man. He really does. And it just remains to be seen whether he is up to the task. I mean, he looked like it last year. It looked like mentally he was there. I don't know physically. I think he had some issues. I think he had a little bit of mentally growing up to do. But I remember, just a couple instances, getting on guys. And you see a couple of instances of, not that that's anything wrong with that. I mean, Shabazz used to get in guys' faces all the time. So I'm not saying that makes him a bad teammate or whatever. I just think it was definitely a lot on him, like, sophomore year, and he didn't expect it. He thought he was going to have, Gilbert by his side, kind of his Robin into his Batman. And he all of a sudden he lost that, and the whole team is his, and, it's kind of crashing all around him. So, but the talent is absolutely there. I don't know if he's the pure shooter. I don't know if he's the shooter that we want. I don't know. It's not saying that can't come, though, because you've seen guys develop that at times. But he does. He can finish. Streaky. He's streaky, yeah. So if he can kind of, develop into a little bit more of a consistent shooter, I think, exactly. You do want to say why not? Why? Because he definitely has the talent. He's got the size. He's got the durability. Mentally, I think he does have it. He does appear, I know he had a rough day yesterday. Yeah. But I honestly, I watched him on the court, and, he was definitely our best player last year. And
it's kind of the new NCAA too. Like, this dude's a big recruit who's a junior now, which is like almost a super senior in today's NCAA. Yeah.
No, the expectations are huge now, because now he's 3 years older than some of these guys, and he's got to perform. It is that time now.
Projected first team All AAC. I mean, we're expecting big things, and I mean, it's not like this guy's gonna regress. Like, I don't think that's possible. It's just how how good is your good? That's one of my favorite
Yeah.
sports sayings. So
Right.
we're gonna find out. He's gonna have all the opportunity.
I think, yeah, because exactly on this team, I think he just has to stay on the court and he's good for 15 points. I don't know how Jalen Adams does, unless UConn. I don't know. You'd have to really question the coach if Jalen Adams only get 15 points a game, because if he's not getting the rock and if he's not getting 15 points, and like something's wrong on this team because they just don't have the options.
It's not going to be a watchable UConn here.
Yeah, so he's got to get his. But I'm saying there's got to be the nights where he puts the team on his back.
So that segues us into a guy you mentioned, Christian Vital, who, man, I guess if we're looking for bright spots from last season, he's the one. Hey, we gave Facey his love. But like this guy wasn't the highly touted recruit. You're almost saying like you're giving Ali the don't stop recruiting point guards treatment. Like we need wings or bigs. Mm-hmm. But this dude ended up playing a huge role on the team after everybody got hurt. And man, and this is part of what motivated me to actually do this podcast. I love podcasts and I love UConn. Nick, but I listened to the first UConn podcast that came up, and it was Dom Amore, who reports the team well. I don't have any qualms with Dom. It sounded like the podcast was filmed in a sauna. Like I couldn't really hear what was going on. It was weird.
It might have been.
And then he was talking about, he was bad-mouthing Vital for, kind of having the New York attitude, that New York small guard, got to prove yourself. And I'm thinking to myself, man, on this team that was brutal to watch, like, at least this kid was going for it. This kid was giving his all as a freshman, not the big-time recruit, not Al Tariq or Larry, who came in with all the expectations. And he did a lot of good. Yeah, there's moments when you're a freshman, 6 foot, he wishes point guard in playing NCAA basketball for the first time. But man, he was not everything we expected. He clearly flew past expectations.
Yeah, I mean, the kid was not afraid to take the big shot ever. I mean, sometimes you're like, oh, I wish you didn't take that shot. You kind of make you cringe sometimes, but the kid had guts all year, and he's shown it already in the preseason. Like I think what Don is alluding to is the Queens exhibition game where he kind of got into it with this other guy, but he's from New York, so I think there was a little. He's from New York City, so I think that was kind of what was going on there with kind of his old hometown boys. So, but I said I love Vital. I want to say he's the heart and soul of the team. It does seem like he's got a feel on the rest of the guys. He does seem to be the guy that has bought in from the second he's been on campus. Yeah. And I love him. I do. I really like him a lot. I think he needs to play. He needs to know what he is and what he's not. Yeah. But, I think if he's playing his game, he's definitely going to help us.
Yeah, and that's a freshman. He averaged 9, 3.5, and 2. So again, another favorite podcast term from 40-year-old virgin. Extrapolate that. Right. This guy should be a double-digit point scorer for us, which we need. Absolutely,
yeah, and I think he can do it. I like the kid's attitude a lot. I'm a big fan of Vital. I like him, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be the best 3-point shooter we have on this team.
Yeah, which
not every night. It's going to be Adams. Sometimes we said he's streaky, and I don't think that probably won't change this season. I think he might score a bunch of points some night, but other nights I can see a lot of 2 for 7 nights coming behind the arc from Adams. But Vital, I mean, the guy, like, I think can shoot, man. He looks good from up on the arc. He's not afraid to take it. Or some of the other guys just look hesitant, and which is fine. I don't mind Adams going to the hole. That's good.
Yeah.
But this kid doesn't mind. You give it to him. If you give him a little bit of space, he's gonna try to knock it down. So
yeah, which we desperately need.
Yes.
So that leads into the other 2 guys who are back are Larry and Gilbert, who we've talked about. Yeah, they didn't really play last year. Man, there was so much hype on Terry Larrier, which
he's been touted as a first-round pick for about 6 years now.
Name's always going to make me smile just because there's too many R's and vowels. But, he's the wing. He's the wing. Not saying that in the best way.
Yeah.
and I thought it was interesting. And again, the other podcast I listened to, and it was the first thing you mentioned, so I was happy about it, that this guy's going to have to see time at the 4 this year just due to his height, which I think is okay. I mean, basketball is going that way. And I was trying to think of the comparison all week for kind of small ball and 3-point shots in the NCAA, because I don't think it's to the point of the NBA right now where you need to be able to hit a bunch of threes to win.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my best comparison would be like, it's like having a running quarterback in NCAA football. Like, you can have a good team and do it that way, but like that doesn't work on the pro level. And it starts to get tough if you get behind, because that's the three's the great equalizer in the sport. So, so UConn's still going to need to shoot threes. Dom wanted them to play 80s basketball, and that kind of got me mad. But either way, so we've got Larry's going to be back.
That good. They're not that good. Like, they just a touch on it as it makes us both angry. But they are just not going to be able to rebound. They don't have the rim protector where you can't shoot threes. Like, they just don't.
Yeah.
It's just not. I just don't think that'll work, because I just don't see the rebounding, and I don't see the defense being good enough. We're going to be behind some nights. We're going to have to shoot.
Yeah, and I mean, Larry, where's my boy? I'm clicking through different UConn teams. I just saw Leon Tolksdorf pop up again. I can't really deal with that right now. I mean, in his games last year, Larry went for 13.5 and 5. So like this dude can play a little bit. And I mean, in those games, it felt like he didn't play great. Like, I know that's not the best statement, because we've only seen him play 3-4 times. But hey, again, I'm going to start again. It's going to start creeping and getting more positive.
Yeah.
Okay. So Adams takes a jump. Vital, even if he stays around the same, because there's more bodies, 9-10 points per game.
Yeah.
Even if Larrier, I think 13.5, I shouldn't say a baseline for him.
Yeah, I don't want to say that either, but yeah.
But like that's more than reasonable. Like, if he's a 15-point per game guy, I'm not going to be surprised. That's what he was touted as and what he's supposed to be. I think 13's fair. I think 10, again, that's starting to look like a not enjoyable UConn season.
Yes. No, if he's averaging 10 points, I think we are in trouble. I said, like, just like in the, I mean, I don't know. I was watching the exhibition games. I was there. A couple of times where Larry was like at the top of the key and kind of a facilitator. I thought the team looked pretty good, and that was with like, the scores weren't impressive. But I liked like Adams playing the 2. I like Larry at the top of the key at the facilitator, and Gilbert kind of running the point. I thought the team moved well, which has not been our strong point in years. Yeah. And it goes back to the Calhoun years. It's not the prettiest half-court offense you've ever seen. But I did like what I saw from Larry, like kind of a pretty decent passer, and like it's killing me. I'm trying to think of a guy that like he gets a little out of control, and he's like Ross. He's a little like Roscoe, I think, when he's kind of running. So that's a mean thing to say to someone I don't know very well.
We love Roscoe.
Just kind of looks a little out of control when he's trying to just run the floor. I just don't think the handle's there, and the shot looks really inconsistent. People are gonna say he's rusty. He hasn't really. I don't know, when was the last time he played a full season? Like, it was 2012 or something.
Yeah, and they said he's supposed to be deadly mid-range. Mm-hmm. Not really great to stretch it. We'll see kind of what his limitations are on that pretty early into the season.
I didn't hate him like down at the 4 spot, like kind of being a little facilitator and kind of getting his nose dirty. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah,
he's not a big guy. He's tall. He's not a big guy at all though. We'll see how that holds up against like the SMUs and Cincinnati's of the world. But
yeah, and that's something going through my back of my head right now is defense, which is a little scary right now. But the last guy coming back, Alterique Gilbert, he again in his games he played, he was 10-3-2. Big time prospect, kind of that point guard tradition we've talked about.
To me, he looked just like a young Kemba and young Shabazz when he first started. I mean, just energy, quickness. go into the hoop and can shoot a little bit. Of course, he made those freshman mistakes, turnovers, and stuff like that, but he looked right on par with the young guards we've had before. He was exciting. So that was heartbreaking.
This will be my probably the well, no, I've got one more big positive spin. But so when you look at the stats and point per game is deceptive kind of thing. I mean, Purvis is Purvis. I'll count him up there. In theory, we lost a ton of guys, but in theory, we have 4 of our best 5 guys coming back.
Right, I agree.
And again, in theory, if you do it right, it's the kind of team that UConn likes and can play well with. You know, they've got the guards, kind of the one wing going on.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And then you run a bunch of big guys out there until they all foul out.
And I think we're going to see a lot of that.
Yeah. But I mean, not to say it has worked for us in the past.
Yeah. So that's the biggest positive spin so far. That's pretty much who's back. I think we covered that pretty thoroughly. Who's new, which is a bigger section than a lot of years.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with the young guys and
8 new guys
and see how it figures itself out. I'm just going by the raw ESPN recruiting grades, kind of, and we'll pick from there. Actually, one's kind of not, but that's a whole story. Tyler Polley, he's again the prototypical UConn wing, supposed to be able to be pretty good. I think when I say prototypical wing, I think it means they're typically a little bit better of a ball handler than other wings. I don't know. Maybe that's a weird statement. I don't know. The biggest thing I saw was there was a PG Paul George comparison, which if you're going to compare anyone to that, that's a pretty special player, especially his recruiting grade wasn't super high, but clearly this guy, and when I think Paul George, I think of a guy that can kind of do a little bit of everything on the court. He does it at a very good level. But I don't know, is Polley or we'll table our expectation. I guess we won't pit them against each other yet. But I mean, do you think Polley's going to see the most minutes out of these freshmen? Do you think he's going to be on the court the most? What do you think?
Yeah, I do.
And you saw these guys, right? That's the other part I'm blanking on.
No, I have been there. So I like Polley's game. He was definitely a little timid in that Providence game, but then he also had this like really slick like behind the back move and then went in for the layup. It was kind of impressive. So and then he looked to like play better after that. Again, like freshman, he's not gonna he's not the most talented guy we've ever like seen, but I think he was a late bloomer with recruiting and scouting. Kind of like shot up late in the game. But he looks good. I definitely think he's gonna get the most minutes, unless one of these big guys, and we'll get into it, can stay on the floor long enough. I don't think Polley will start the most games out of all these guys. I think that's going to be like probably Cobb. But minutes, I think, Polley will probably get the most minutes. And I do see some potential there. I think he looks pretty good. He's got to play defense to stay on the floor. So we'll see about that. And, honestly, didn't get a great feel for that playing these exhibition games against, he's playing against guys that are like 6'3" and white. So. And
that's you made the I kind of touched upon it, and that's why I like talking this through, because certain things pop up. UConn, for years, they've always had that big man that's, can be the eraser down low, and they're not going to have that this year. So
absolutely not.
For all these new guys, I think defense is going to stand. If you
got to keep some guys in front of you this year, because you don't have. If you get beat, there's no one back there that's going to save you. So. And that's what we've had for a long time.
When you talk about getting buckets, I mean, those expectations are going to be on the 4 guys we talked about: Adams, Vitale, Larry, or Gilbert. Hopefully a big guy, maybe. But with these young guys, Ali's going to be looking for talent and what you can do on the offensive end. But if you can play D, I think that's what's going to get you the most minutes. So I don't know. I guess in my head, I still like the Paul George comparison, just because that kind of means he can play defense, and the other thing that jumps out kind of means he doesn't need the ball in his hands. So we'll see on that. Again, he had the highest recruiting grade, whatever that means. I guess keeping it positionally, I'm going to skip the next guy and go to Sidney Wilson, which we'll keep this high and tight because do we know what's going on with his eligibility? I don't think so, right?
No, it's just classic NCAA. I think Ali quoted yesterday said that they got a lot on their plate and probably and it's like I can't. That's a whole nother show about the NCAA and UConn. I would be shocked if you got the waiver. I really do. I think there was another. I'm not making this up, but there was another kid, another school that definitely that did some summer classes and then got his waiver denied. I'm drawing a blank on where that was. But,
I remember Billis talking about that too.
Yeah, so I don't agree. I mean, it's a whole. We can argue about it for like a week, but I don't think they're gonna give him a waiver, and it's really too bad because you talk about what this team needs, and he is it.
Yeah.
From biology, like everything you read about the kid can play. So it stinks.
Yeah, it's a kind of wild story too. I don't know. I mean, being optimistic, you're hoping he's one of those kind of end of the semester guys that they allowed to play. But college basketball is so tough that none of those guys are really able to fully integrate into the team. So we'll see. He does sound like a bouncy dude. He sounds like a fun guy on the court. So we'll see. I mean, it's just we're waiting to hear.
It'd be a nice surprise, but I wouldn't.
I had a lot of comments I was going to say about the NCAA that I just you heard the words not coming out because they weren't pretty. And that leads us into the last the last bouncy wing freshman, Isaiah Whaley. He had a little bit of a lower recruiting grade. He's supposed to be a bouncy 4, which, hey, call me crazy. It sounds like we're playing a 3.5 guard lineup that I'm assuming on offense is going to want to push it. If you're a bouncy 4, you can have a lot of fun with those kind of guys. So, we'll see. I mean, I don't know.
If you haven't watched a lot of this team, it'd be hard for you to tell the difference between Polly and Whaley when they step on the floor until you get to know. They kind of look pretty similar. I think Polly looks a little bit more polished, but I think Ollie likes both of those guys. I'm just seeing that they both got a decent amount of run in the preseason. Again, I think it's kind of like who wants to play some defense. So we're not expecting either of these guys to score 10 points a game. But who's going to play some defense and not not make the mistakes out there and not cost the team? We're not looking for either of these guys to win us a game. That is definitely on Adams and the returning guys. But
and I think Ali, once you get on campus, all that big time recruit stuff goes out the window, especially at UConn. I feel, of course, Uncle Jimmy was notorious for that. But with Whaley and Polly, guys with similar games, I'll look at it as a positive thing for now, but he's going to tell those young guys, hey, go play defense, get out on the break, and that's yours right now. If you own that, we'll give you some more. So that's going to be something to watch early in the season. I just got excited for that, so that's cool. So the only freshman that doesn't fit that exact mold is Josh Carlton, who's supposed to be kind of our I won't say kind of our big man because Ali's not going to give him that torch. No. And he's going to have to earn it. And it's tough because there's going to be a lot of big man minutes out there. And from what I saw from the scouting report was like this guy has his moments where he looks special. He looks like a big time player, but he's very inconsistent, which I don't know. That's just a scary thought for me because we've seen a lot of players go in that doghouse and not come home.
Exactly. I just think he's going to keep getting his opportunities at least early because there's just no one that's going to grab that 5 spot and run with it. I just they all look like Cobb looks like a guy that's not going to stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah.
he does look confident out there. I mean, you're not looking for big. I mean, we just need some guys to grab some boards. That's all you really like. And to try to stay on the floor, you can't uh, um, it just occurred to me we forgot somebody that's back. He didn't play it all last year. Mamadou Diarra.
Oh yeah, I kind of missed him on both lists because he should be on both lists, right? Like
he did not play 1 minute.
Yeah, what list do you technically put him on?
Yeah, I mean he's interesting to me because
he's supposed to be the most talented, right?
Yeah, I was about to say we're unprepared here and we did totally miss him. I think if you would put him on our who's new list, he's got to be the highest rated guy, right?
Right.
And I thought he looked good. I think he looks active. And the first game he fouled out in 6 minutes, which is that's
okay.
Work.
Okay.
that's work.
Playing physical, I guess.
I don't know. We'll chalk that up to the jitters, I guess. Against Providence. Providence came in swinging in that first game. The squad was not ready for that.
I guess we'll.
I like him
a little bit because Mamadou. If this team is playing right, your three guards are going to be Adams, Vitale, Gilbert, and then you're going to be rotating kind of the big wings, the 3-4 guys. It's going to be Diarra, Polly, Wilson, and then kind of the big guys are going to be. Is Cobb our starter at center?
I'm going to guess so. Yes.
Cobb feels like the prototypical he's a starter, but he's not actually the starter. At least
he's a starter. Yeah.
At least by season end.
Yeah. Well, he's like. I mean, we talk about him all the time. He's a fan favorite, at least in this group.
My God.
I mean, he used to start. I think he averaged 8 minutes. We started every game.
Yeah.
And he honestly became pretty serviceable. I kind of think Cobb is kind of in there. I think he's going to rotate a lot in the 5. Ollie's going to do a lot of rotating in the 5 spot. But I like Diarra kind of in that he's kind of got that. I've been waiting for the next one, but like the Jeff Adrian mold, the Alex Oriaki kind of like. He's listed at 6'9". He's probably 6'7", but you hope he just plays big.
Yeah.
Looks strong. He's got some athletic ability. Looks kind of like a fighter. And, we need a little bit of a bruiser down there. And I think it's him just because he's more athletic and more polished than the other big guys. I mean, Cobb's a big dude, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're really ripping on Cobb here. It's not.
No. Cobb's going to be our enforcer and favorite guy on the team. I think.
Yes,
I mean, his quotes already are incredible.
Yes.
What's the quote? He's like, "I'm not going to block some shots, but they're going to feel me." You know what I mean? Like, yes.
Nice.
Like, I have no idea what you mean, but yes.
Yeah. More of that.
So his story's kind of funky. He got kicked out of South Carolina technically
for a BB gun incident, right?
Yeah, it's like something that sounds like one of our stories. It was literally like BB guns and fireworks or something just.
Yeah.
And the best way I heard it summed up was, it's a total young guy college thing. Like it wasn't being malicious. It was just being an 18-year-old idiot.
Yeah. Which for some reason, like. Everyone that he was with thought that'd be funny, and there's no real way to explain that. But I don't know. We have countless things where like that was the dumbest thing ever, but we all thought it was so funny.
Believe me, I've been there.
Ben, Eric, we've all been there. So
Frank Martin said great things about him. So I mean, he's going to be the big. We're hoping that I think when we really need a skilled big, we think Carlton's going to take that role. We'll see.
Yeah.
The other wild card in the bigs is David Onura, the
Cornell guy.
Yeah, Cornell guy who is kind of the anti-Cobb. His quote was like beautiful. He's like, yes, I couldn't be more excited to join this team, and I'm going to do all the little things, and I will rebound. Whatever the team needs. And it's like, yeah, Cobb's like, all right, I'm a body you. Like, I'd love to see those two play one-on-one.
Absolutely. I don't think he's playing tonight. I think he's got a hip thing, so that's concerning.
And his Cornell stats, the only thing that that worries me. They flatlined super hard, and whenever you see that in college, that's concerning.
Right.
But like he was just 20 minutes a game, and it was like 5-5. So
Yeah.
I don't know. All the big men seem like send a message, big man. Like either someone mess up, okay, Honora, you're in. You know, Carlton, you're trying to do
it's
too
going to be
much on offense.
I think he's going to play the hot hand, and that's
It's going to be interesting to see how those minutes sort out. I think ideally it's Cobb, Carlton. I don't know. I don't know. In today's NCAA, when you've got these freshmen who are coming in, who we're going to see freshmen big men who weigh 180 pounds. Like you're a fifth-year guy from Cornell. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm saving the last guy for last because I get weirdly excited for him. I don't know, but Antoine Anderson is someone that a lot of the articles, he's actually the first guy they mention when they talk about the newcomers.
Right.
This guy played at Fordham. He had a couple game winners. I don't know. What do we expect?
Yeah. He looks like the kind of guy that we'd like to have on this team, kind of a little veteran. He could spell Adams for some minutes, and he's got a funky shot, man. I don't know if you've seen it yet. He's got a funky left-handed. It looks like it takes about 3 minutes for him to get it off, but
oh boy.
But we just need some steady minutes out of him. I mean, he's got he's got a knack for the theatrics. It sounds like from Fordham, some game winners. I think is what I heard about him.
Yeah, he hit 2 game winners last year.
I didn't see. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, just going by exhibition games, and I don't like pretend to know what Ollie likes to do in those. I mean, obviously, talent is not even close. It looks like he's kind of running some things that's like set up, like who's going to play when and everything. So we're just looking for a steady guy to spell Adams for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And obviously, you got to be a little careful with Gilbert given the injury history, and you hope he doesn't. You hope his shoulder is steady now, but you need somebody that can spell him or step in if need be.
It feels like there's going to be games where we lean on Antoine Anderson as just like a calming, like whoa, like Vital's trying to do too much. Jalen's not feeling it right now.
Well, I mean, I saw it in the preseason. It's like Gilbert picked up like 2 quick fouls, and it's like. Then if Gilbert is out before the under 16 with 2 fouls, like then what do you do? And and Adams hesitate. He's got himself in foul trouble sometimes too. He's got to definitely be better with that this year because he definitely way too many times where he was either sitting with 2 fouls or he like couldn't play any defense because he had 2 fouls in the first half. So you're definitely looking for Anderson to. Just be steady. Play some smart basketball. Hit some free throws. Maybe hit a couple of jumpers for us.
And so the last guy, and we've done so many newcomers at this point, and we're still going. Is Quentin Williams.
Jump man.
Yeah, talk about another great quote. He's like, yeah, I mean, I want to be the best jumper in college basketball, but I know I have to do more than that. I mean, are we kind of like, is this guy going to be like a periodic Stanley Robinson? I have no idea. He's 23.
Yeah, he was an Oregon recruit back in the day. Didn't get in for academic reasons. He spent some time in JUCO. He's from Anchorage, Alaska. Would have lost that bet.
Yeah, it's like everything. This guy could be like a go-to option for us, or he could never see the court, and nobody knows.
No one knows. He did not see a lot of court in preseason, at least in the games, the first 2 games. I'm not sure he did in the third one where they put a beating on Queens, but I don't know. He looks like I don't know if he grasped. Like I don't know what he can do other than jump, man. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and it's another thing that starts getting in my head. Like, okay, this guy was a decent recruit. He's 23 now. He could still jump out of the building. We're talking about we're looking for like a 4, the new type of 4-man, the 6'8" athletic 4-man. Like he could be that dude. We have no idea.
Yeah, so, I don't know what the plan is with him or what he can do. I don't think anyone really knows yet. I'm gonna guess he's probably not a great shooter because we haven't seen. I don't think he's taken one shot.
Yeah, hasn't mentioned anything about that.
I'm gonna just guess that he's not a knockdown shooter.
This is an educated guess.
But can you play some again with so many of these guys? Like we know where the scoring has to come from. If we're looking for scoring from any of these guys we mentioned in the past half hour, we're in big trouble.
Yeah. Well, that's again another deep dive, but it's good stuff, and it's got it's the team this year. Let's let me jump to kind of Big Evan, who we might catch on Talking Huskies at some point. Not today. Well, the first question's a big one. We'll skip that. Well, let's. I'm going to make the second one kind of a two-parter because we've got the first couple UConn games are what? We've got Colgate tonight, Stony Brook, and then BU. All at home. Again, these are second, third-tier teams that are probably some of the biggest early season games in UConn history, right? Because if one of those goes sour, like red flags.
Yeah,
red
it's
flags
not
everywhere.
looking, and it's already been. I think it's already been written by anyone that covers the team that Ollie needs to go 3-0, or else he's going to feel a lot of heat.
Yeah,
and I'm not. It's not like me. I don't like to jump on the coach, especially a guy like Ollie, who by all accounts is like just a great
he showed
dude.
He can coach guys to the championship.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really hard for me to jump on him. I think he's definitely fighting an uphill battle. Still in recruiting. I think the team, we were lucky that we had Shabazz to hold us through all those recruiting issues and losing our coach and stuff. I just think it takes a lot longer, especially when you're not a Power 5 school.
We could do 10 podcasts on that.
I don't think I'm not ready to jump on the coach yet. I mean, you do need to see some things that are a little bit better from him. He's lost his cool a couple times. He is, second half adjustments, little questionable. And you got to see the team ready to play. You can't come out and drop these two because they're just – I don't care. There's 8 new guys on this team, but all of them are more talented than anybody on these first 3 teams that we have here.
Yeah, and those lead us right into the Oregon tournament, which should be awesome. I mean,
great idea. I mean,
depending how UConn fares, I'm going to feel slightly differently about it, but it's just a great concept.
Yeah, absolutely. Great idea.
Is that going to be make or break for UConn season? I know it sounds dramatic, but
well, here's the thing. Yeah, I mean, the tough thing is, like, you start talking, like, how the committee treats the AAC, and here's your chance to get a couple points. Like, I think our RPI has got to be better than it has been. Just looking around, I think Wichita State alone is gonna.
Wichita State's low key.
Yeah, and then we also play Nova. So I don't think our RPI
Arizona.
Arizona. SMU is supposed to be good. I mean, I think the AAC. I think consensus 4 teams are a lock for right now. They look like 4 teams going to the tournament. So, and hopefully the committee gives us a little bit of a break. But UConn, you're looking at. I don't think it's make or break. I don't think if we lose to who's our first game, we're playing.
I think we're playing the Ducks.
Yeah, playing the Ducks. I don't think if we lose that game, I don't think it's over. I mean, it really depends. I mean, if we're 1-2, when these first 3 games are even 2-1, and you lose to the Ducks, and then it's like, it's not looking so great. I think if they go 3-0 and they put up a fight against the Ducks, it's not the worst. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it's game over. It's not season over there.
They do have a lot more ranked games this year, which I think is good. They need it, and if you. By the NCAA is getting so much parity. If UConn can win 2 of those games out of Wichita, Nova,
at Arizona.
I mean
that's a chance for a win. Yeah, that's a chance for a win. No one else has.
End of the day, with how many teams end up on the bubble, how good is your good? If you have a couple of those.
I mean, you look at teams you're looking at even if you win one of those games, like the past couple of years, like one win against a top 5 team, you're kind of in. Like unless you're,
right.
And because you're looking at like these teams are getting in with like
18 wins and one good win, and you're in the tournament.
Yeah, it's really what it's looked like. And the biggest knock on UConn is like they didn't have any of those wins. There wasn't a team that they could beat. And now you got a chance to play. You have 4 games against teams that are picked to go to the Final Four. So the opportunities are there. Like I said, it's kind of sad. I hate that the status of the program is kind of a little like, I know this podcast has been like kind of down, but you never used to worry about these first 3 games, but they are kind of big, and you just hope that they come out and stomp these teams and get back to, I shouldn't even say that because Calhoun, the teams back in the day, they didn't stomp these. You just need to win them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was in the.
I remember multiple times being down to Maine at halftime. And that was like, and like you could hear Calhoun. Yeah, you could hear Calhoun dropping the MFers like in the rooftops. So I'm not saying they need to stomp these teams, but they do need to win. You can't slip up now, and you're just gonna be looking at our returning guys that just carry us through these first couple games. Get the new guys, kind of accustomed to what they're gonna be seeing, and hopefully just give the Ducks hell. It's all I can really ask of them.
Yeah. So from there, I guess what's the AAC expectation? They're preseason 5th.
Yeah.
Which
can't argue with it. Can't argue with it really much.
I know, right? And that it like partially hurt my soul at first. Like, God, we're 5th in the AAC, but
the teams aren't that.
Exactly. It's not as bad as past years. I mean,
SMU, Cincy, and Wichita State. I mean, can you, even the most biased UConn fan, do you think we deserve to be ranked ahead of them? I don't.
Yeah, no.
And I don't think I expect us to, to beat those teams in the standings this year. So.
Yeah, it's tough for me to not get optimistic about UConn. That's just where I'm at.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to.
I think you can be optimistic. I think they're good teams. Like I think UConn can have a fine year and finish 4th.
I'd like,
and that's still. I think that might be a good year because I just think those teams are that good.
I think there's a chance. I guess if I'm looking at teams to slip that we can pass. It's tough to put Wichita there. They've got so many guys coming back. They're somewhat proven at this point. They're proven. They're a basketball program. What you would say is this is their first time in another step up as a conference, which maybe it's not a step up, but so you kind of can't put them there. Cincinnati's going to be at it. Passing them could be a coin flip if they have a lesser year. SMU, man, that's the one that's getting me a little bit.
I've said this for 4 years now about them though. It's like,
I know that's the other part that's tough, but they
we need to we can't have we won at SMU yet? I don't think we have, right?
I don't think so, but
it's been brutal.
So they have Shake Milton back, defending AAC Player of the Year.
Yeah,
but I think, man, they lost some talent.
They did. I mean, right.
Damian Dotson's playing on the Knicks right now. That other guy, he's gone, right? There was a point guard that tormented us, or is he not gone?
He might still be there, and
then that takes away everything I've just said.
He killed us. He killed us. It was unbelievable.
Let me see. I'm looking at the roster.
The short guy.
Yeah. Is he already gone? Ben Moore? No.
No.
So I'm looking at the roster right now. Semi Ojeleye, he's playing for the Celtics right now.
Right.
Playing big minutes.
I mean, he killed us.
Yeah. I mean, this team, they lost some just absolute talent. So I think that's low-key going underrated right now.
Yeah.
We'll see how that plays out. I say that, and this is a team that could still win the conference end of the day. So,
yeah.
But that's my team to watch. I feel like they're not going to be the SMU they've been the past couple years, but we'll see.
Like that one, yeah.
So, what else do we got? I guess the big topic was, if you had to bet $20 today, which big man is our best big man? Who would you put the money on? And I'm gonna keep Diarra out of it. So it's got to be.
All right, fine.
It's got to be Cobb, Carlton. I guess Onura.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I think throughout. I mean, I don't know. I think the whole year, I think it's going to be Cobb. I think Carlton has a chance at the end of the year to be something for us. I think for the most of the year, I think it's going to be Cobb. And if he, I mean, I don't know if he really struggles in that. This prediction could go out the window in the first half if he picks up 3 fouls. So
yeah. No, I think the way you phrase it right is Cobb's going to be the most consistent. You know what you're going to get. He's going to be a big man kind of enforcer. Mm-hmm. They're going to want Carlton to be the skilled big. If I add Diarra and count him as a big man, do we have the biggest expectations for him?
I do, yeah. I think he's kind of flying under the radar a lot.
We almost missed him.
Yeah, clearly. We've been talking about this. We planned this podcast for 3 days and we missed him. I think he's the best. I think he's the most skilled. I think people were pretty excited about him last year, and then he didn't play, and everyone's kind of forgot about him.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, it doesn't sound like he had a knee injury that they didn't fix. Like, it's just like, I don't know. That kind of worries me. It's just something that needed rest. And I don't know. He's 19 years old. It doesn't sound good.
Doesn't sound great.
So I guess health is big on him, but he looks like all systems go.
Yeah.
But yeah, he looks like, I think that,
It's so, I guess, expectations. This wasn't on there, but let's do best case, worst case. Let's get the worst cases just done with, like a Band-Aid.
I think it's just back to last year. I just look at the schedule.
Injuries, right?
Yeah, I think worst case. You can go real. This can get real dark. Not even. Are we still talking about UConn?
Yeah. Girlfriend breaks up with me. No, never mind.
Yeah. Lock your phones.
We're thinking like 500 records.
I don't know. Adams goes down, and then what the hell do you do? Even Adams is in foul trouble in big games. Like it's looking really dire there. You worry about Gilbert's shoulder popping out again.
Yeah.
You worry about Larrier. I don't know if I worry about him. Obviously you don't really worry about him tearing it again. It can take guys like over a year to kind of trust the knee again. And you've seen it like a lot of times, and guys over and over say, it took me a year to really trust the knee and get back to what I was. And that's scary because we don't have that much time.
And the part I liked is that you mentioned Jalen there, injury-wise or otherwise. A big part of this season is going to be who's taking the burden off of them. Is it Vital? Is it Larrier? Is it guys taking their turn? That's definitely the who to watch. I think the bottom is last year's the bottom. Let's be honest.
I honestly do too. I don't know how how it gets worse. We played pretty awful when they were a 500 team. So I think how could it be worse than that?
UConn really can't go south.
We played with like 6 guys some nights. So I'm gonna say it can't get worse than that.
Yeah. What's your like best case? I know.
Like we touched on it. I'm just being honest here, trying not to be like, such a homer. I think like 3rd in the AAC is probably where I don't know if you can get much. They're not better than Wichita. There's no way.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati gives us fits. I don't know if they're a couple games better than Cincinnati. I'd be really surprised. And SMU's there, and I'm missing who's the other one right ahead of us? Houston.
Cincy, SMU. Wichita, and now I'm blanking on it.
Yeah, is it Houston?
No, not Houston. Now I'm digging through SMU's old player pages because that's where I ended up before. This is good podcasting. No, so it's Wichita, Cincy, SMU. Who are we missing? Are we losing our minds? I guess I am losing my mind. I don't know.
Yeah.
There we go. We just got 4th right there.
Okay.
We just went up a spot.
Nice.
Losing our minds. God, that's really weird. All right. We'll sound like fools, lost all our credit. Memphis is around. It's not them. Who do we just leave out?
I'm looking right now. Cincy.
UCF.
UCF.
UCF, that's right. Taco
Yes.
Fall, 7-6. I'm kind of out on them too, man. I mean,
I don't see it either.
I get it. They've got a good guard coming back, and they've got a big man. But outside of that, they're still UCF, right? So let's back to the drawing board. I don't know.
I'm still saying best case scenario is third. I just don't know if we have the depth to just, even if we're playing really good. I just think
I'd say second in the AAC just because I could see, like you said, we have battles with Cincy. If those go the right way, Cincy has a couple bad games. We're there.
Yeah.
That's best case. Worst case, like we touched upon. Here's my big. This is my wow moment. If you listen through the podcast, all four of you, no, this is the moment. So how about let's look at it like this. So we want Jalen Adams to take that leap, kind of like Shabazz, Kemba.
Yeah.
So, if he can be a 18-5-5 guy, 18-6-4, something like that, very feasible, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's go out to the wing. We got, Larrier. Larrier, can he be a 13-6 kind of guy? 13-5? Absolutely. Yeah. I think he can. Back to the guards, either Vital or Altariq. One of them has to be a double-digit scorer. They've got to be a 12-point per game guy.
Absolutely.
I guess I'm secretly leaning Altariq just because of the talent.
Me too. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really sure.
It feels rude, right?
I'm not sure where you're headed. If you're asking me like who, I don't know. You're asking me for a surprise or who do I think is going to?
No, you'll see where this was going.
Okay, all right. Yeah, but I agree on Gilbert. Yeah, so go ahead.
So one of those guys has to step up a little bit. And so the other guys say they're an 8-point per game guy. Probably Vital. I'm guessing with the other guys back, that kind of takes away from him. That it feels rude. It feels like he was the girlfriend that stuck it out with us last year, and now we're going. He's out a little bit, but he'll still be very involved.
Right.
So now, what's his name? The new guard, the Antoine Anderson.
Yes.
Not big expectations. He's going to be a stabilizing force sometimes. 5 points per game, something like that. Stats start getting slippery, right?
Right.
So the stats I just went through is the UConn team from 2013-2014. So those were Shabazz's stats. Shabazz went 18-6-5. DeAndre Daniels went 13-6. Boat Show went 12, 3.5, 3.5.
Mm.
Giffey was the fourth best scorer at 8-4.
No kidding.
Lance Lasan Chroma, a fourth-year transfer kind of stabilizing guy. He was a 6-3 guy for us, and that's what's been in the back of my head when I was researching some of the old teams and classes. Obviously, this team was the nowhere team. Yeah, I get that. A lot of things had to come together.
Right.
But so those first five there, like those comparisons are almost on point. We're like literally we're expecting Larrier to be DeAndre Daniels.
Yeah.
We're expecting Jalen to be Napier. Boatwright, I mean, sometimes looked like Vital last year.
Yeah. I mean, everyone said this last year. We're just like kind of hit like the injuries and everything else. We just kind of put it back to everyone was saying this last year. It's like, hey, we might be okay. We got the guys to replace what we lost.
That's the low key. That's the low key part about last year. We arguably lost our second and third best players last year, which would kill any team's season.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's my big positive spin. I mean,
yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's
the numbers that the championship team finished with are really in our realm. I mean, the names I didn't mention that got minutes on that team were Pino, Philip Nolan, Omi, my homie Calhoun. All these guys averaged less than 4 points.
Yeah.
Except Brema was a freshman on that team, which was tough to watch for points. Olander, if you remember, was the starting championship center.
Yeah, more national championships than Jim Boeheim. I just want to add that.
On the season, Olander averaged.
Forget that.
On the season, Olander averaged 1.8 and 1.2. So that's what we were working with. So again, a lot of things came together for that team.
Somebody write to us. Remind us to tell an Olander story at a future podcast. We got.
Oh boy, and cut. But yeah, it's who's gonna because Shabazz is Jalen, Larrier has to be Daniels. That's the start. Yep. If they're not there, then the rest falls out.
Yep.
Either of the other guys could fall into the boat right role. Obviously, what Giffey developed into in the tournament was kind of special. He's awesome.
Great player.
But yeah, I mean, from there, you're looking for like 3 of those role players to really step it up. And then, you know, a couple of those other guys are going to be Omar Calhoun for a game or Philip Nolan when he has a burst, you know? So I don't know. I don't know if it's blindly optimistic or I used a couple stats to defend it, but this team has some potential. I think the expectation is NCAA tournament, right?
Oh yeah, I mean it has to be. Still UConn on the jerseys. It has to be.
And we've right. So we've gone a little long. Final bad journalism. If they don't make the tournament, is Ali out?
I want to look. I think it's been mentioned other places. The buyout is huge. If you want to just talk, like people are going to be very upset. People are going to be upset. People are going to be upset. This is tough. It's tough for me. I'm going to say no. I think the Heat is. He's on the hottest seat in America. But I'm just going to say no because, given the circumstances, you're in the AAC, which I don't think it's as bad as like the perception of it is, but I don't know who's gonna want. You know, we got the history, of course, but is it going to be the same job that we all think it is to other people? That, you know, who are you going to get to replace him is really what it comes down to. I think he's still recruiting at a pretty high level. I mean, we're in on everybody. It seems like we're in everyone's top 5. He needs to seal the deal, a couple more of them. But, I mean, he gets his foot in the door with every recruit in the country almost.
Right. It feels like even a solid, even if we're like a 7, 8 seed, even a 9 seed, it feels like UConn's back on track. It's like, okay, they had their tough year. They're coming back a little bit. A couple recruits, boom. Mm-hmm. If they don't make the tournament, I think buyout reasons, you're partially right. And it would depend. It depends how ugly it is, right? I mean,
I think,
if it's last year,
if it's ugly, I can see. I mean, if it looks like mutiny, and
guys are transferring, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, then that's a different story.
But that's not going to happen. We'll just win it all again. UConn basketball.
Maui to Houston. We're just going to do it again.
Atlanta, Vegas. All right. Well, man, we chatted up. I like that.
Yeah.
Enjoy
It was the 8 newcomers, you know.
Yeah, right. And that's it's pretty exciting about this team. I don't know if there's ever been this many new guys coming into the program.
I mean, when you're really talking about, you're really saying 2 guys left over on the team, and I haven't seen it on this team in a long time.
It's really weird. Two new guys, but our 4 best players coming back. How about that?
Right.
Here's some stats. So hey, that was Talkin Huskies, everyone.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Yeah.
Nick Carpino, Jake Storielli. Talking Yanks, talking Knicks. If you're into that kind of thing, if you're not, go Huskies. Let's get a win tonight, and we'll probably be doing these weekly, like we do with the other stuff.
Yeah, I think we'll check in next week until we can't. You know, hopefully it doesn't get so bad that we can't take it.
if we stop checking in, then times are bad.
Yeah. Honestly, those will make for some good podcasts. So no, we're gonna do that. We're gonna be here every week. Everyone, listen to my boys on talking Knicks. And are you guys still doing talking Yanks?
Yeah, we're talking Knicks. We're talking Yanks. We're talking, babe.
We're just talking. I love it. All right, give them all a listen.
Right. Well, hey, thanks everyone.
Yeah, man.
Bye.
Bye.